the chagrin of the Delphonics. But I eventually went with them. They were touring nationally, so I went from the small circuit that is Philadelphia and in the areas it's confines to a larger circuit, which included the Intruders going a lot to the West Coast, up to Canada. So we traveled a lot of different places.
Did you hear of the Delphonics before you got with them? Had you heard their recordings and stuff on
No,
radio?
this is before they actually recorded.
This is before that
before
time.
they recorded, before the first song, which was Lala, I think.
Lala,
Means I
okay.
Love You. They actually lived. The Delphonics lived about a block, maybe, from one of my good friends that I knew from junior high school, named Michael Foreman.
Okay.
And he kind of introduced me to them, and from there it took off.
Okay. All right. And then from the Delphonics, you went to the Intruders.
To the Intruders.
And you kept on traveling. So when did you start recording?
With the Intruders, actually.
With the Intruders.
With the
Okay.
Intruders, I did some things with them. Love is like a baseball game.
Okay.
I actually recorded with them for that, and Friends No More. I did some things with Jerry Butler, but that's the beginnings of the journey, and then from there, it kind of took off and went into other things that were around actually the East Coast, doing recordings with different groups, some small, some large, until I got to the point where I really got busy with Philadelphia National Records.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Is that when you became a member of the MFSB Orchestra?
MFSB.
The MFSB.
Yeah, Mother,
Orchestra?
Father, Sister, Brother.
Okay.
That's the name.
So that's
That's
when you became a member.
That's when I became a member.
Okay, so tell me about that experience.
Well, first of all, they were the group of musicians that everybody aspired to because they were doing so much. I mean, outside of Motown, they were doing probably the most recording work.
Okay. Okay.
So you wanted to do that to give you something to shoot towards. My cousin was in a group, so that didn't hurt. I mean, that helped a whole lot.
Yeah.
So I took a whole lot of pointers from him, and kept on striving to get better and get better and get better and better. When they left PIR in 1975, Kenny Gamble was looking around for other guys to record. Myself, Michael Foreman, and Charles Collins kind of filled in and became part of that machine that was recording a lot of the things that came out of Philadelphia. So we did when Teddy Pendergrass left the Blue Notes and started working as an individual artist, we took up that effort and moved forward with that. So you had Teddy Pendergrass and you had some of the OJs because they continued to do things, and Lou Rawls, the Jacksons, on and on and on. So from about 1975, mid-1975, I'll say, because I don't know exact dates, going forward until the end of PIR, that was us. We did most of that stuff. So all that stuff that you hear after 1975, we actually recorded. That was not, the first iteration of MFSB.
Okay, so same musicians wasn't there like MFSB. They weren't there from the beginning to the end. They were
correct.
interchangeable.
That's
in
correct.
other words, right?
That's correct.
And they did studio work. That was a studio band, and so
Right.
they did studio work for the first group.
The first group
The first group, and I
of
have it
artists
down
that,
here.
yeah.
That it was a continuous flow, like when one musician left, another musician would come in. Is that how it went?
I don't know quite how to answer that question. I think it was, if I understand what you're saying correctly.
Because it's 35 or 40 musicians at any given
Oh
time?
well, if you're looking at strings and horns,
Okay.
you're talking
Okay.
about a continuous effort by them.
Okay.
Don Ronaldo and the strings and
Okay.
Zach Zachary and the horns and things like that. Yeah, they were the group of horn players and string players that played with MFSB. The rhythm players changed though in 1975. That's what I'm saying. So the rhythm players, the Billy Pauls, the Blue Notes, Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, the first group of artists that were with PIR recorded with the first group at the
Well,
MFSB.
let's clarify what's PIR.
Philadelphia International Records.
Okay, so everybody knows what that is.
Yep.
Okay.
So that was we're talking about the Billy Pauls, we're talking about the Blue Notes, we're talking about the Jerry Butlers, the Intruders. That is what I would classify as the first group.
Okay.
If we're talking about Harold Melvin, if we're talking about Teddy Pendergrass after 1975 as an individual artist, that would be like a break point. And then after that, you had the Jacksons, you had Lou Ross, you had the Jones Girls, you had Phyllis Hyman, and on at that point. So those were recorded by, we were part of that recording effort.
Well, just from how did you feel about working with all those artists? I mean, what was it like working with them?
It was fun.
It was fun, right?
It was fun.
And did you realize at that time that you were a part of their career? Come on, right? Did you?
I didn't realize it. I was too busy just trying to make certain that I was doing my part and making good music.
Yeah, well, Dennis, you were part of that fame because, you were playing behind them. You were doing all this kinds. I don't know if you were arranging at that point or whatever.
No, I wasn't doing
But
anything.
the musicians were, they were part of the fame.
Right. Yeah.
And congratulations for that. And then you continue. Now, you gave me some credits here, and I want to read this to our Facebook family and friends. And we talked about some of the people that you work with, that you work with here from 1987 to present. This was more recent.
Yep.
Okay.
Correct.
Come on, let's read this. Read this to them.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about here. Stevie
Okay,
Wonder.
Stevie Wonder?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, those are... Stevie used to come in to town to actually record because everybody used to come to Philadelphia to get part of the Philadelphia sound. It was so popular. So Stevie Wonder, Engelbert Humperdinck, Tony Bennett, Melba Moore, the Manhattans, Jacksons were already there. I did James Bond movies, but those are things that I did individually.
And these things that you've done with these people, you get credits for those.
Correct.
Is that right? So on the album, it gives you credits, or it just how does that?
Well, some of them do. It depends on whether or not they actually give musician credits. Engelbert Humperdinck did. I think Tony Bennett did. Melba Moore I know did. Manhattans did. The Jacksons we did get it. James Bond movie you aren't going to see anything there because that's a movie.
Okay.
But yeah, and Stevie would come in and he would record things, and if it didn't meet, I guess, whatever his particular criteria was, he would just keep it in a can. So I'm not certain whether or not he actually gave us credit for it, but I remember doing them.
Okay, so you did, and then down here from 1974 to, I can't see this, to 80. Okay.
87.
And you work with these artists.
Harold Melvin, Patti LaBelle, Lou Rawls. I did all this stuff when he was in Philly. The Jacksons, I did all their stuff when they were in Philly. The OJs, from about 1976 forward. McFadden and Whitehead, yes. And there's the stuff that I did with Jerry Butler.
Now, on Lou Rawls, you did You Never Find?
Yes.
Okay, and that's one of the favorite songs like Philly Live Radio always plays. That song, You Never Find. So that's...
That beginning, that's mine. That's my guitar. Yeah.
Okay. And so you stayed with MFSB for how long?
I was there from 1976 through its, I guess, when they stopped recording out of there. So that could be in the 90s or something like that. They stopped recording.
And when you were with them, you were doing producing, arranging, playing, composing. You did the whole thing.
Right.
You did the whole thing. You were.
I did. I didn't do too much on the writing side. I did arranging. I did a few production type of things, but I did not write music. Didn't write a song or so.
Okay.
I mean, I did some things for MFSB. I wrote a song for Major Harris. There's probably a couple I'm missing, but not much, not a whole lot. My book wasn't expansive.
Well, yes, it was. From what I'm hearing, it was expansive. Yes. So, are you still writing? Are you writing for yourself?
I'm writing for myself now.
You're writing for yourself?
Yeah, I have an album that I'm working on, and that doesn't include any new artists or anything like that. Because I guess I would be considered old-fashioned R&B.
Okay.
Which is very close to being.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
You know, it's nothing wrong with old-fashioned R&B.
Yep.
How did you meet T-Life?
I actually met him more through reputation. I met him first time physically. We actually were in the same room together when we did Bad Luck. He and I were in the studio together because we were guitarists on the same song.
Okay, because he thinks highly of you. He's a
good guy.
Yeah, he's always asking me. He said, "You got to get him on your show. He has so much experience, and he's done so many things, and we want to, Facebook family friends, thank you for your contribution to the music industry.
You should have used me on on your record. Okay, you didn't, but that's okay. We're still cool.
Now, how did that mother, father, sister, brother? How did that name come about? Do you know?
That's something. Well, I wish I knew. That's something out of Kenny Gamble.
Okay.
And that's his creation.
Okay. How was your experience with that? I mean, when...
It's it was really good. You get to go to Carnegie Hall. You get to go all those big places. You play on Broadway. So yeah, it was a little all-encompassing, and I really had to pump up my game, come out with the A stuff as opposed to just playing, and felt like it didn't make a difference if I made a mistake. But yeah, if you're at Carnegie Hall, you better play.
Well, I know that must have been quite an experience.
Yeah.
To first of all to get into that, but you wouldn't have gotten in, Dennis, if you weren't qualified. Okay, so you were qualified to do all that you did.
Right.
And you got in it, and you contribute to many of these entertainers to their goals because of you arranging, composing, playing, and all that. He was an intricate part of their career.
Right.
Okay, and lots of times we forget about the ones, our musicians, our background singers, and all those guys that were there to make our stars famous.
Right.
Okay, and we want to, make sure that we bring that out today in your interview.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to take a second. I don't have, I can't see the names over there for Gilbert. We have some guests over there. Can we say hi to them? They're not on mine. They're on yours.
Can you see them there?
Refresh.
Okay, so let me see if I can refresh this and see if I can say hi to these.
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't get them. Mm-mm. We want to say hi, so just give us a second. No, don't get up. No, I got it. Don't get up. Don't get up. Let me do it. Okay? Okay, here we go.
Yep.
Okay, so I have, hi Jessica, thank God for old fashioned. Don't put it down.
I didn't
See,
put
she
it down.
caught what you said, right? Don't put it down. Joe Harris is saying, "What's happening?"
You tell me, man.
Okay.
How you doing?
And Jessica says she's going to share this interview right
Okay.
now.
All right.
Okay. Russell Payne. Russell Payne is a friend of mine from the UK, United
Okay.
Kingdom.
Right.
And he's always tuning in to see what we're doing
Right.
here in the United States.
Okay.
Okay, and getting materials. So I want to say
Hi,
hi
Russell.
to him. I don't have any. Kenny Jenkins is here. Who do you have over there? Anyway, we want to say thank you to all of you who's tuning in. We had some technical difficulties prior to starting our show, and we may be going through some other stuff, but just hang in there with us because we want to get through this interview with Dennis. Okay, now, the musician, now what are you doing? You're saying you're doing your CD.
Well, I'm doing
Right.
stuff that's more, I guess, we would classify it as smooth jazz.
Smooth jazz.
Smooth
Okay.
jazz.
Okay.
Only because that's where my head is now. And it's kind of moving kind of close to what I'm used to hearing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not old school jazz. I just don't hear that way. And I'd rather do something that I'm good at. And that's probably classified
I like
now.
smooth jazz.
Yeah, smooth jazz.
Because
So-
I think, like, a lot of it to me is melodic. You know, I like to.
Well, it's probably more. It's less invasive than some of the old. I mean, things that are in odd times are kind of hard to keep up with because they do things that are. I mean, you don't want to go down that road too much because you can get lost easily. But I want to make it easier for people to understand,
Okay.
so I'll do that.
Okay. And besides doing your CD,
Yeah.
what other things are you doing now?
I'm actually in the process of doing a production for working with the guy who's producing the Volcanoes. So we're
Volcanoes from years and years ago.
yeah.
Now,
yeah,
see,
he's actually
that's
doing-
really old
he's-
time, right?
hey.
Now
hey.
you're going back to Carlos days. Carlos Rainey.
No,
Okay.
we're talking about before then.
Okay.
But he's producing several songs, and I'm helping him with that effort.
Okay.
So I mean, just to have something that is old school R&B, and to give him his grounding, and to take that going forward, I think it'll be fun. It'll be fun. We're starting it in February.
February,
Yeah,
okay.
which is
Okay.
tomorrow. But we'll probably start it in the second week in February. Yeah.
Okay, and then you're teaching. I want you to tell me everything.
Well,
teaching?
yeah, I'm teaching. Because that does have a tendency to keep you on your toes, because you never know how your students they're going to ask you crazy questions that you hadn't thought about before, or how do I play this, or how do I play that, and you just hadn't thought about it from that level. So I teach both jazz guitar and just regular guitar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you? How many students do you have? Tell me about how
About 20, 25 students.
many. Do you have that many?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
I do.
And so that's like a full-time job you teaching.
Well, it's not full time, but it's
25?
it's about 4 days a week, in the evenings. I
Okay.
teach that.
Okay, and the students practice.
That's another question. I don't
I'm asking you this because I need some
They try. I
information,
have some
okay?
students that practice, some students that don't. But that's par for the course. That's the way it goes when you're actually teaching. Probably some of my professors said the same thing about me. Sometimes you practice, sometimes you don't.
Okay. Now we have Winston Gay. That's your buddy there.
Winston, what's up, man? How are you doing?
And he has joined us today. And then we have Sandy Sykes. That's my sister. Hey guys, thank you for joining us today. We're interviewing Dennis Harris. He has a wealth of information that he's given us, so just stay tuned with us while we continue. Now, the music today, another thing that I wanted to say to the younger generation is that we're here, okay? And we have a lot of experience in the music business, and we could possibly give them advice, help them along into their musical journey. Is that correct?
Yep.
If they will
could.
listen.
If they'll listen.
If they'll
Go ahead.
listen, we could probably help them, right?
Right.
Okay. So now, when they're writing a song, or let's say they're playing a song, okay?
All right.
They're playing a
Ready,
song.
playing. All
Yeah.
right. Go ahead.
And I'm a singer, and they're playing. Okay, what are some of the things that they should be aware of? For instance, let me clarify myself. Okay, I'm at the mic and I'm singing, and a musician is playing. Okay, should they be louder than I am? Should they be tuned in to what I am while I'm singing?
Well,
How does that work?
That we're talking about actual song dynamics and what have you. I
Okay.
don't know that because it happens that it's so spontaneous at that point. But you have to be true to yourself. You can't play anything or sing anything that's outside of you. I mean, you can try as hard as you want to be somebody else, but you're only going to be you.
Okay.
So you have to stay true to you because that's what's going to be is going to come across, more authentic.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to stay close to that. If I would recommend anything, is that that's what you have to do. Sometimes things don't fit the way we did it, as musicians. They don't fit in a typical 4/4, but that's okay as long as you can make sense out of it, because you got to remember that Joe Average is listening to it and he's trying to organize it in his head. As long as you can keep it in some form of organization, you're fine. Okay? Don't be afraid to take chances.
Well, the reason I asked you is because many times I would go places and the singer would be singing and I can hardly hear the singer. Now that may be the sound system.
That is,
okay?
probably.
But I can hear the musician
Right.
really loud. It's above the singer.
Or maybe they're just turned up.
Okay. And maybe that's what, and they turn up so high that I can't appreciate the singer.
Right.
So like a tip is to make sure that the musicians are in tune with the singer. Is that the sound system that we're talking about?
It could be that, or it just could be the guys are overplaying. The most difficult part about playing live is that you have no idea what the people in the audience are hearing, because you only hear it from your perspective. You're standing in front of your amp, or you're standing wherever you're standing. You don't know what it sounds like to the guy in the first or second row. You don't really know. And if you can have somebody do a sound check.
Sound check.
Yeah, to find out what's going on, to find out if maybe it's too loud in this part, or maybe I can't hear her at all because you guys are overpowering her. That's something that you want to make certain that you pay attention. That's why there are sound checks, whenever you do a live show.
Okay.
In big venues, anyway.
And when the musicians are when a musician is practicing, what's the difference between practicing and rehearsing?
Practicing and rehearsing, unless you're talking about, well, I'm kind of unsure of what you mean. Practicing, if I'm practicing by myself, then I'm practicing.
That's what I mean.
Nobody can hear it. Rehearsing, I'm with other people,
Right.
and we're rehearsing a song.
Okay.
Or we're rehearsing.
Okay.
You don't practice at rehearsal.
Sometimes you do.
Okay.
Sometimes
Okay.
it happens that way, but at least you have an idea where you want to go with that. Okay, at rehearsal, before you actually play it.
Right.
So
Right.
it can't happen that way. So I mean, there's a lot of things that come into play. When you're actually practicing, there's a lot of things that happen when you're rehearsing. You may think that something you practiced can work when you're doing the song, rehearsing the song.
Okay.
The only way you're going to find out is one way you can find out. You can find out when you rehearse it.
When you rehearse.
You rehearse it because that's before you go and actually do a show.
Okay.
All right? You can find out whether or not it will work.
So
Why not?
but they should practice. Of course they know they should practice.
Yeah.
And then when they get with the other band members, it's rehearsing.
If they have it down to, if they have it,
That's when everything comes together.
yeah.
That's
if
when
they have it
everything
down.
comes
Yeah.
together. Okay. So I was just trying to give them some
don't be afraid. Like I said, don't be afraid to try, experiment. I mean, if you think you can do something, go ahead and do it. I mean, the only way you're gonna, progress and push beyond that point where you're nervous is to go ahead and try.
Yeah.
Because a lot of great ideas stay in when you're rehearsing. Everybody is a monster when they rehearse, but they're afraid to try when they actually everybody's a monster when they shed. Okay. There's great players, man. I'm sitting there practicing myself. I can play some great things, but I'm afraid to do it at rehearsal.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to do it at rehearsal. Try it.
That makes sense.
Yeah, try it.
That makes sense.
Because if you can do it at rehearsal and everybody says, "Hey, that works," then guess what? You're probably going to do it when you play.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, tell us about some of the pros and cons. Okay. In the music industry. I know it may be a lot. Just give us a few examples.
Pros and cons of the music industry?
Mm-hmm. Like pros would be...
pros would be that you can actually write some things that will be a huge song. You can write some things that'll work. Mm-hmm. Again, you don't know until you actually do it. Mm-hmm. Step out there.
And you can have a music career.
Yeah.
Right?
You can. Con is if you don't find a way to copyright that. Somebody can take your idea.
You're going in a different direction, right?
Somebody can take your idea, and guess what? You get nothing for it. That's a pro and a con. Okay. The con is you can lose the song.
Yeah, and when I was I know when I was talking to bands and songwriters and they were writing, they said it's only one hit. If we can just get one hit, all these songs we're writing, if we could just get one, we will be okay. And they were steady at it. Like songwriting was a big part of what they did because they were looking for this one hit. But when you get this one hit, does it also have to do with the artist that's singing it or playing it? I mean,
it can.
It can, right?
It can, yeah. It can be that the artist, because again, we're talking about a lot of things.
It has to all be locked in, right?
A lot of ingredients go into making that hit. Okay. Not one thing. A lot of people like to think it's just one thing that makes a hit. Well, no, it's not. It's the combination of it. So, and it usually happens when it feels it. You can actually feel a song when it's a good song, because it all comes together. It's kind of.
Give me an example of a good song.
Ain't No Stopping Us Now.
Oh wow. Mm-hmm.
All right, it was a good song.
How did that come about?
That was a result of musicians jamming in the very beginning. That's look. I like McFadden and Whitehead, but basically what it was the beginning. The beginning of that song was, or the majority of that song was just musicians playing. We were going to do a session for them.
Okay.
So we were trying to, most musicians, studio musicians anyway, like to get warmed up. You want to get everything, all the juices flowing and what have you, to make certain that when the opportunity comes up later on that you can do it. Well, as part of that process, what we were doing is we were playing just in the beginning, just warming up. And the next thing you know, Ain't No Stopping Us Now.
Impromptu jazz session. Okay. And I like that.
That's
right. Turn the tape on. Yeah, and that was it.
And that's how it came.
That was it.
And it felt right.
It felt good. So that's what happened.
So some of those rehearsals can turn out to be really
correct.
Yeah.
Some of those things that you actually remember I said don't be afraid to take a chance.
You said that.
Yeah. Well, a lot of things that I can remember taking a chance on happened as a result of that.
That's excellent. And you did what was it by the OJs? Was it Bad?
No, it was Used to Be My Girl.
Used to Be My Girl.
Yeah, the beginning of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing where I just took a chance. To be real honest on that, we actually, when we were running a song down, I heard Leon Huff, play something. It was elsewhere in the song. It wasn't the beginning. It wasn't, anything formally written out. Mm-hmm. But I heard him play it. And what I always try to do is enhance. Mm-hmm. I want to make it sound good. And then I want to sound good too as I play it. And I just took what he played, which is just a Mixolydian scale, and put it in the front because I knew it would work. In my head, I'm just thinking that would work in the front as opposed to where he played it.
Okay.
And I took it, put it in the front, and Kenny didn't say anything. So didn't say, "Don't play that."
And we want to give a shout out to Gamble and Huff.
Yep.
We want to give a shout out to them for all the music that they have created here in the city of Philadelphia and all around the world. They were a powerful team.
Yes.
And we want to say thank you, Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff, for all of your music. And we want everybody to know that these artists was a part of that scene at one time.
Right.
Okay? Now I want to say, go back to Carlos and read what Carlos is saying to you. Hey, Dennis, I'm outside waiting for you with Donald Trump. Great interview. Called me. I was going to come there, but I had to gig last night. Still in the bed. I misplaced your number. Get mine from Doris before you leave. And let me get that James Cagney hat, bro. Carlos is so good.
Carlos is my man. Yeah, he is.
So we
Winston,
went through.
Winston hollering at him, too.
What's Winston saying over here? And he say, "Oh, hi, young man, smile and be happy."
Hey, what's up, man? You're still playing, aren't you? Right? I know you are. I know you are.
Yeah. Now, inspirational words to others. Okay?
Don't give up. If you can play, if you have the talent to do it, don't give up.
Will I ever get my break?
Well, you will if you keep trying, but you won't if you stop, because it won't happen. If you stop, it won't happen. Because, first of all, if you don't play, if you're a musician, if you don't practice, you're not going to get better. As simple as that. Yo-Yo Ma, as good as he is, has to practice. Everybody does.
Yeah.
It's the way it works. If you stop practicing, you lose out in a lot of different fronts. Yeah. And then nobody will hear you because nobody wants to hear you. Mm-hmm. Because, again, you stopped practicing two weeks ago, and you sound like you haven't practiced in 2 weeks. So keep practicing.
Should I learn more than one instrument?
It always helps. It can't hurt. When I went to music school, they told me I had to play more than one instrument. I fought with them. But yeah, it helps. It expands your understanding. Yes.
Should I go to music school?
You don't have to. Some of the best musicians in the world didn't go. Earl Gardner, Wes Montgomery, B.B. King, yep, and Joe Pass. We're talking about some pretty famous musicians. Did not go to school. Couldn't read a lick of music. Couldn't. It just blows your mind. You stop and think about it. That like those guys, the impact they had on the music business, and they couldn't read. That means they just had it in them to do it. So
should I use my, I guess, like a networking system, some kind of networking system?
Yeah, that helps. Yes.
To keep abreast of what's going on and continue meeting different people.
Meeting different. It's in this business is not only what you know, it's who you know. Yes.
Okay. And like on my Facebook page, should I continue to advertise myself?
Marketing, yeah. Well,
that's the word I'm looking for.
That's
marketing.
a big part of, particularly in today's world.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm. And get a YouTube channel and do all those kind of things so I can.
Yeah, provided you got to make certain that it's YouTube worthy, because if it's not, if you stop practicing, it's not YouTube worthy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now I have one more thing. I want to go back here. Do you know Ted Cohen? And he said, yes,
Yep.
awesome interview. I enjoyed watching you in the studio on stage.
Yep, I know
Okay.
him. Yep.
And Carlos is saying again, come to Top Shelf next week with Doris and Gilbert bring her guitar. He's always trying to recruit people for Top Shelf. Okay, Carlos, we hear you. Okay, so you gave out some good pointers.
Right.
And some of the folks out there may want to contact you.
Right.
And, just get
Well,
some
have them get in
information.
touch. I'll give you my card and.
Well, you have an email
Yeah,
that
I
you
do.
can give to them now?
I don't want to put it on there.
Okay.
I don't want to do that.
Okay.
Just put it out in the ether.
Okay.
No, that's not going to
So
work.
they can always contact me
You.
at Doris at dhjindieshow.com. Okay. They can contact me and I can give them your information if it's
We'll talk
okay.
about that. Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. And then, are you planning to do any? Are you still performing at all?
Well, I'm not planning on any performances right now. I was working. Went back with the Tramps and did a couple things with them, but that iteration of the Tramps doesn't work often, so I'm not planning on anything that way. I'd like to do something that I'm a little more familiar with, other than disco stuff. I mean, my stuff is cool jazz. I'll be honest about it. That's what I hear. That's what I feel most natural at doing. So that is something I'm hoping to generate.
You will.
Yeah.
You will generate
Yeah.
it. You will do that.
Yep.
Okay. You've done so many things. You've accomplished so much stuff. That this is just another road you're going to travel, and you're going to be successful in that too.
Right.
Okay. And I want to thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, not a problem.
And all this information that you've given out. And I'm just honored to have you. All these people you work with and all the songs you got credit on, I'm just happy to have you on the show.
Oh.
Okay? And I want you to take a minute and talk to our audience. Okay, just a second. Just
Talk. I don't understand what you're.
okay. I usually give them a minute or
Right.
half a minute just
Right.
to say thank you for your support.
Well, yeah, I definitely want to say thank you for all your support in the past. I mean, without you guys, it probably couldn't have
Yes.
kept it going as long as it did.
Right.
Something was working. Something happened, and you guys were accepting it. So
Yes. Yes.
kudos to you.
And they were part of all that success that others got because they bought the songs.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they liked the music.
Liked the music.
Some of the things that I thought probably wouldn't work, it did. I mean, it
Thank
did.
you
You're
guys,
right,
yeah,
it
because
did.
they supported us, right?
Yeah, they supported the artists that I recorded with. I know the artists had their own following, but nonetheless, the music was good, and it's all about that.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Okay. And we want you to keep supporting our artists. I have a new artist on every week, and that artist comes with a whole lot of experience and information of what they've done and where they're going. And we all need to support each other to keep our music alive.
Right.
And I want to say thank you to Gilbert. Okay, Gilbert works real hard setting up everything, and I want to say thank you for your hard work. Thank you to Facebook fans and friends for joining in with us. And we have a little contest that we do, like whoever shares the most videos within 24 hours, I always give them a giveaway. So share this video with your family and friends. It'll be off here within 24 hours, and it will go on YouTube, and you have to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel.
Right.
Next week, our guest, February 7th, have you guys ever heard of Philly Cream? No Philly Cream?
No.
Okay. Philly Cream was a group with WMOT Records years ago. We have a recording artist from Philly Cream by the name of John Hall that will be with us next week. And I'm going to read you some of the things John Hall has done. He was a contestant on the TV show America Got Talent, and he appeared on Showtime at the Apollo, and he was a winner.
Whoa.
And he also does impersonation of James Brown, and he said he's just great. You can't tell it isn't James Brown. So we're looking forward to having John Hall on our program next week. And we're going to run and we're going to say thank you for joining us. Tune in and support our artists. Thank you very much and have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.
All right now.
Oh, bye.